Hello everyone, welcome. Today in this video, we'll be taking a look at the CLAT application form and we'll be discussing how to fill the CLAT application form for CLAT. While doing that, we'll also be addressing some of the questions that people have. It's a fairly simple process, but given that people do have some confusions and misconceptions over it, let's take a look at how exactly one fills the application form and what details and documents we need. So let's start. It's an online form. So the first thing that we do is we go to the website of the consortium of the NLUs. This is the website. It's consortium of NLUs.in. What we do is we go to CLAT 2024. We click here. And before even filling the form, what we must do is must make an account. So you do that by clicking on register. So we have this form where this is not, oh, mind you, this is not the registration form for CLAT itself. This is merely an account registration form. You first make an account on the CLAT website, after which you proceed to actually fill the form. So let's quickly make an account here. Let's say my name is Ramesh Yadav. You have to fill in your name, your mobile number, your email ID. You have to suggest a password, and that's it. You only need this information. Once you click on register, your account will be created, and you will receive an OTP on the mobile number that you use to sign up. All right. So I will just sign up using the OTP. And here my account's activated. All right. And now all right. So we've logged in, and we now have, and I now come to the welcome page of the CLAT registration phase where you actually register. So this is the home page where you have CLAT 2024. Uh, there are a few rules, very generic ones, that you have to fulfill the eligibility criteria, and that none of this is final until you produce all the documents that are required. For NRI sponsored category, of course, you'll have to check and other reservations, we'll have to check the relevant brochures of the universities. And you can also, you do not need to complete the process in one sitting. There's an option to save as well. We'll, of course, be discussing all of this later on. Uh, for now, let's start. Let's first you have to click the programs. Of course, it's fairly obvious that we take the 5-year undergraduate program, which is the BA LLB. You of course also have the CLAT LLM postgraduate exam, but the majority of the applicants, of course, are for the 5-year undergraduate BA LLB. You select and then click apply. You have selected to apply for undergraduate course. Please confirm. Once we confirm, we have the form. Now, this is important. So, this is the actual registration form that you have for CLAT. There are broadly 5 heads wherein you have to fill up details. So, it's personal information. Then you have communication, where you're in personal information, you're asked for things like your name, your gender, your parents' name, then your category, your photograph, your signature, all of this. Under communication details, you have your address, your correspondence, and all of that. Qualifying examination is essentially whether you've written your class 12 exam or not. It's very simple. So is test preference. This is also very simple. We'll be discussing all of this. You will not be allowed to edit your reservation preferences until and unless you fill up the first forms, because that you'll have a prompt saying please enter values in all fields. So you'll have to fill up personal information, you have to fill up communication details, you have to fill up qualifying examination details and your test center preferences, and only then will you be allowed to go to reservation. All right. So let's start. It's simple. Just you have to be a little careful. You will obviously have the opportunity to edit this at a later stage as well. So do not need to worry. Please do not rush. All right. So let's start. The first thing is a photograph that you need. So let's upload some sort of dummy photograph. You also get to decide how much of the photo you want. So you can kind of reduce, or you can crop, and you can rotate and all of this. That's straightforward. You'll get a confirmation box and select OK, and your photograph will be uploaded successfully. We follow the exact same procedure with your signature. We're also uploading a dummy signature here. You can similarly, you can rotate, you can resize, you can crop everything with your signature. You'll again get a confirmation box, click OK, and it will be uploaded. Once these are uploaded, you'll have to write the applicant's name. This must also be identical to the certificate that you have in your class 12. If not, if you haven't passed class 12 certificate, if you haven't received your class 12 certificate yet, write the name that's shown in the admit card. It'll be the same. Okay, so let's start. Let's say my name is Ramesh Yadav. My date of birth here, you select your date of birth. Similarly, if your parents or guardian's name. Okay, next question is, do you qualify under NRI category? So those of you who are NRIs, if you have documents, then select yes, or if not, then no. S- However, NRI sponsored and NRI categories are very different. NRI sponsored is will the rules for NRI sponsored will depend from college to college, but it's mostly you have to have some relative who lives abroad and is willing to undertake and is willing to sign an undertaking to sponsor your education. Essentially, you'll be paying the fees, but one relative essentially who lives abroad has to sign an undertaking on your behalf. It's also a little expensive. Usually, it's multiple times the fees that you pay ordinarily as a normal category student. So you essentially be paying higher fees. I am not an NRI sponsored category, so I'm selecting no. If you are, then do select that. Then comes your All India category. Here also, if you are an SC, ST, or an OBC, you have to submit a copy of the certificate. So, what you should do when you're filling up this form is get all these documents ready. They'll be very, very important, and if you can't produce them, it will be very difficult for you to to get your seat at the time of admission. So, be very careful when you're filling up this form. Have all your documents with you. So, let's select general category. If you qualify under PWD category, then select yes, otherwise no. You'll again have to have a certificate for this. Similarly, for below poverty line, you'll have to take this for EWS reservations. If you have the certificates, you click yes, otherwise no. All right. And then we proceed to the next section. Before proceeding to the next section, important to make sure that you save your progress, because if your net crashes or something, then you won't lose your progress. So make sure you save as draft before you proceed to the next section. So you click on save as draft. They'll come up. You'll get information stating that your all the information that you've entered is saved. Once it's saved, you get confirmation. Then go to the next category. Now this is communication details. This is also fairly straightforward. So here you fill up your correspondence address, which is where you're staying or where you're currently staying. So let's say you have, I'm currently staying in uh, 108 107 BT Road. Let's say it's in Bonhugli in a place called Kolkata. All right, so this is your correspondence address. Then you select your state. Mm, Let's take West Bengal, district Kolkata, pin code again, enter your relevant pin code. If your permanent address is the same as your current address, then you just copy paste your address here and you do the same. If it's different, then you put in all the relevant details. So your permanent address. Make sure that your address is entered correctly. Your mobile number is the one that you have registered with. You can give an alternate contact number here and an alternate email ID here. Your main mobile number and your email ID have already been registered when you made the account, so you don't need to fill them again. All right, so we're done with the communication details. Again, it's important to save before proceeding, so click on Save as Draft. Once you receive confirmation that it's been saved, we now go to the next section. Now, this is very simple, qualifying examination details. All right. So now we come to the next section, which is the qualifying examination details. Essentially, it's your class 12 exam. So here, for the first question, qualifying exam, you have a lot of options depending on what you studied in class 12. If it's arts, if it's commerce, if it's humanities, science, something else, then you can select accordingly. So let's say we've taken commerce in class 12. I select 10 plus 2 or its equivalent for commerce. Board or university, you'll have to fill this up manually, whether you have like a state board, your CBSC, ICSC, ISC, all of that. So let's say you have ISC, or maybe better to write it down in full. So you had Indian School Certificate. Or you can also, so in you can also under board maybe write the actual name of the board. So I think it's the Council for Indian School Certificate Examinations. In appearing or pass essentially means that whether you've already appeared and passed the exam or whether you're going to appear for it. So if you're a fresher who will write your ISC exam in 2024, that is before CLAT, then you can write appearing or appear. And if you've passed, then write passed, that is if you're a dropper or if you wrote your boards this year. Month of passing, write the month where your results were declared or the month that's written in your pass certificate. If you haven't passed, if you're going to appear this year, then select the probable month when the results will be declared. It's obviously there's no hard and fast rule about this, that you have to be very precise. Just be as close to it as possible. So usually results are declared in May or June. So go with either of those. Let's go with May. Year of passing, again, if you've passed, then the year of passing. If you'll appear in 2024, then select 2024. It's written here as well. If you're appearing for your exam in 2024, enter as appear or appearing, and month of passing is June. I'm so sorry. Then you have to write this in June, and year of passing is 2024, and leave the percentage is blank. So uh, that is it for the qualifying examination details. For the test center, we again save as draft before proceeding. For test center preferences, you again have three preferences. Of course, the first is very easy. You just select where you're from, your home city. Will probably be the most convenient for you. So let's select Kolkata. For preference two, maybe select a city that's nearby. Usually, what happens is your first preference is almost always get your first preference. But sometimes the thing is there are so many applications they won't be able to accommodate you. But it's very rare. There's a 90% chance you'll get. If you don't, then select like the nearest center to you. So let's say I select Asansol, which is also in West Bengal, is preference 2. And for preference 3, maybe I select Hooghly. So this is simple, just three preferences. Usually you get your first preference. If not, your second preference definitely. Again, save as draft, you close. And now, after filling all the four heads you'll be allowed to access the reservation form. I'm sorry, I forgot to fill gender and EWS. I now they've allowed me to access the reservation portal. Okay, so for reservation, this is very important. The first four is very clerical. It's up to you largely. For reservation, you have to be very careful because a lot of universities have their own different reservations. I would strongly recommend that you check out the e-brochure that's given beside every university. So you have the option to download the university brochure here. So please make sure you go through the brochure and see the reservations available and then proceed accordingly. For some, you will only have domicile reservations. For some, you will have NRI. For some, you will have Jammu and Kashmir resident. For some, you'll have sports quota. For some, you'll have army or military quotas as well. So domicile, of course, would be depending on the specific requirements that the university in question will have. So you have to go through them. You'll also find, for example, if I say that if I take NLSIU, then if I say that if I do apply for Karnataka domicile, I will get the rules that are applicable to Karnataka domicile. So you'll have to make sure that you go through all these rules and make sure if you're eligible for Karnataka domicile or not. This applies to all other colleges as well. You'll also the documents that you need to prove your domicile requirements will be mentioned. For example, you need your study certificates issued by your school. In if you have to qualify as Karnataka student. Okay, so no, yes, and then if you select yes, then you'll have other eligible reservation category. Then you will have SC, ST, OBC, WS, Karnataka not applicable. All of this. Okay, so you have similarly for Hyderabad, you have a Telangana resident. For NLIU Bhopal, you have a GNK resident category as well. So if you're a resident of Jammu and Kashmir and if you have your documents, then you can check this option as well. Then, if you take this option, you'll get this dialog box stating that you'll need to produce relevant supporting documents at the time of admission, failing which your admission may be cancelled. So you still again, so this is again that requirement. For domicile, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, it's the same Rajasthan. Okay, so here also you have, apart from J&K, you have wards of Kashmiri migrants for HNLU is an option. For Gujarat National University, Gandhinagar, you have J&K residents, you have residents from Northeast India. So for Northeast India, you'll have to again need relevant documents. For sports quota, you'll again need documents. If you're playing sports at the national level, then I think you'll be eligible for sports quota. Please do check the brochure of GNLU before you make further before you complete your registrations. Some universities don't have domicile as well. For example, GNLU Gandhinagar, you have domicile of Gujarat, whereas for GNLU Silvassa, you have only domicile of Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. For Ram Manohar Lohia, you have sons, daughters of defense personnel deployed in UP. You have Kashmiri migrants, Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri Hindu families, and all of that. For Patiala, you have ancestral residence as an added feature, and so on. Then you have like very similar reservations existing for all other NLUs as well. I don't think there are any other heads that we've not covered already. So after you've seen all the forms and made your applicable inputs, you will come to the bottom of the page. There's this disclaimer that reads, in case of NRI, PIO, OCI, or NRI sponsored categories, candidates will be allotted a CLAT rank. However, such candidates will not be included in the admissions counseling process. Candidates will be required to directly approach the respective NLU with their ranks for admission. This essentially means that you will get a CLAT rank. Your results will not be any different, but in the merit list that's prepared normally by these universities, your names will not be there. Instead, what you'll have to do is you'll have to apply separately under a brochure that's released by these universities. For example, in NUJS, they release their call for applications for NRI students, NRI sponsored category students, around like a month, within a month after the CLAT results come out. So then you'll have to send your application separately under the form, and then you will be allotted to seat depending on your CLAT rank. So once you're done filling the form, you have to verify this box. I do hereby solemnly affirm and state that the information furnished in the form and documents are true to the best of my knowledge, and no material information may be concealed. You can also select if your details may be shared with any third party. Again, I mean, depending on how much you value your privacy, you can select consent or do not consent. And once you're done, make sure you recheck whether you filled carefully. Most of you will have one particular domicile reservation applicable to you, depending on which state you reside in. So make sure you do check that particular domicile quota box. Once you're done, you have the option to submit your form. So you okay. So let's take for example West Bengal. And then you'll have another eligible reservation category as well, whether you're from the scheduled tribe, scheduled caste, or other backward classes. If it's not applicable to you, then you'll click not applicable, and then any of the reservations you click yes, and then you submit your form. Okay. And then you I okay, so what you have to do is you have to manually select no. All right. So you have to kind of select no for all of these. It's a little time taking, but you have to do it nonetheless because I think because I've clicked on them, that's why this option is coming. So you select no for all of this. Whichever state you're not from, you select the option no. All right, we're done. I hope they'll let me. Yes. So please confirm your action. You confirm OK, and then your form will be completed. So your form will now be submitted, but you can always edit your application. So here you'll have your application number, you'll have your name, your date of birth, and the program applied for. Your payment status. Here you'll have your photo. Here your signature, and then you can also validate your email ID. They will send you some kind of password that you'll get to your email ID, and then you can select an action to validate. You can always edit your application form, and you can update your NLU preferences. If you click on this, you'll have your separate dialog box here, where you'll get to make 29 selections in order of interest. This, of course, you can do till on 9th, till November 3rd, 11:59 p.m. You can't make any change in preferences after this. We'll probably be releasing a more detailed video on NLU preferences, so we'll cover that in a separate video. You can also do this later on. You don't need to do this right now. So for now, you can also edit your application form even after paying. So here you click to make payment, but before that you'll have to update your NLU preferences. So first, if we let's say we take Bangalore, uh, then we take Hyderabad, and then we take uh, Kolkata. Let's take Bhopal, BLLB. Let's take BSCLLB. Okay, so for BSCLLB, you'll have to study science in your plus two. That's one caveat that's there. If you haven't, you can also change your preference to, let's say, Jodhpur. Then again, you can have Raipur, Gandhinagar, and then you kind of fill up your preferences as. Okay, so there are 29 mandatory preferences that you need to fill up. Once you're done, you can click update preferences. You can keep updating your preferences till the 3rd of November. So your preferences will be displayed in the order that you've selected them. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so on till 29. And every time you provide new preferences, your previous preferences will be deleted. If you want to update your preferences, give a new set, then click here and you will be allowed to do that again. Okay, so let's go back to home page. We're done updating our NLU preferences. If you want to edit your application form, you can click here. You can make your updates as well. And once you're making your updates, you can finish close. Once you're done, At this stage, you can delete your application. After you make payment, you can't delete your application, but you can always update your preferences and edit your details in the application form even after making the payment. So do keep this in mind. Once you're finally done with all of this, click on make payment. The application fee is 4,000 for general category students. It's 3,500 for SC, ST, and OBC and other students. If you want previous year's question papers, you select yes. It'll cost another 500. If you don't want, select no. You do have all previous year's question papers available online. You can get it for free. So I personally don't think that there's any point in paying the extra 500 for question papers. So once you're done, select no, and then you confirm your payment, and then you will get it'll have to be an online payment. So you select pay now. You'll of course have a list of options. You can use UPI, your credit card, your debit card, or net banking, or some online wallet. And once you're done, you can click pay now, and then you'll get a receipt, and then you will be finally done with your application. It will be accepted, it will be final. And then a few days before CLAT, you will get your admit card as well. So this is it. This is how you fill the form. It's very simple. You can don't worry in case you make any mistake in filling it up. You can always come back to it later on and edit it till the 3rd of November. So don't worry. However, do fill it carefully. Also, make sure to keep all your documents handy. Keep a photograph of yourself, a passport size photograph of yourself, and a scanned signature as well. These two things are important, and all your documents under which you using which you can claim your relevant reservations. So this is broadly it. This is how you fill the form. It's very simple. I hope this helps you when you're filling the form. Thank you so much, and all the best for your CLAT examination.